All right, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in today to the Earl Hall Show. We have a very special guest, Mary Ellen Ciganovich. She is the author of Truth, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing. This is amazing because it's a 366 daily truths to guide you. You can read this book every day and add one onto it at the end of the year. Mary Ellen, thanks so much for being here with us today on the Earl Hall Show.
Oh, thank you, Earl. It's always such a blessing to speak with you.
Man, believe me, it is a blessing definitely to be speaking with you as well. You know, this book is impacting so many different people at this point, and especially with, you know, what you do on Mondays on Facebook, and obviously every Friday you're with our good friend Cyrus Webb as well, talking about these truths of the day. You know, as the author of Truth, do you have a few passages that you review like over and over again in this book?
No, not necessarily. If I need to read one, I'll flip to something. And I tell a lot of people, when you get the book, you can read it all the way through. You can do it one day at a time, or you can just pray and allow God or the universe to open up to the page you need for that day.
Mm-hmm.
And read that and keep it with you all day as you go through your day. Come back and reread it at night to see what you learned about you. Because that's what this book is all about, and that's what life is all about, is about learning what you need to learn to become the peaceful, great, successful person that you are to be here on this planet.
You know, it is one of those things that I think people don't pay enough attention to is that, you know, what I've been calling self-engineering, and just really honing in on the things that you struggle with every day. How do you find, or maybe I should ask it this way, how do you handle those tough situations that come up in your life in an effective manner so that you grow?
Well, when I have a situation faced in front of me, let's say maybe it's a problem with a friendship, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I always step back and say, okay, it's never the other person. It's always in you. Okay, if you're seeing it, if you're hearing it, and if you're feeling it, then you're the one that's got the issue, not the other person. It looks like it's happening in the other person because that is where God puts the issue for us to see. You can't see anything that you're not. Okay?
Yeah.
So if I'm having trouble with a friendship, okay, growing up, I was never taught how to make friends. My family was very dysfunctional, and I wasn't supposed to have sleepovers. I wasn't supposed to do all kinds of things. So I never learned. I know how to be a friend, and I try as hard as I can. And I still get questions like, you know, why is this person just walking out of my life? And what happens is when you've learned everything that you can learn from them, and they've learned everything they can learn from you, then sometimes the best thing to do is to just allow it to go to another level.
Yeah.
Or just let it go.
Do you find that people struggle a lot with, you know, sometimes, you know, we've heard that old saying, you know, some people just come into your life for a season, you know, not for an eternity. Is that something that you find that people struggle with, is the letting go part when that relationship is over, whether we're talking about a friendship, relationship, even a marriage?
Yeah. Well, I know that too many people search for the answer why. You know, why did this happen to me? Why isn't this working? Yeah, I want to know why so it won't happen again. Well, in truth, there is no why. You know, why are you asking that question? Why? I mean, it's a moot point. So, because if you knew the answer why, you're saying you wouldn't do it again. Well, that's not necessarily true. If that's part of if you're on a lower awareness level, then you probably are going to do it again until you learn to wake up. Most people are not aware of what they do. They see it in other people, and they go, oh, well, she's doing that, and she's doing that. If you're, like I said before, if you're seeing it, if you're hearing it, and if you're feeling it, then you have that characteristic inside you also.
Yeah, and we're, you know, even talking about that word awareness, which I use a lot myself, and What I think, and I need to ask your opinion on this as well, when people use that word awareness, it's always something that's external. And so sometimes I'll preferably use the word self-awareness. And, what are your thoughts on awareness and self-awareness?
Yeah, what I used to call it, I used to say I taught attitudinal awareness, meaning awareness of your attitudes that ran yourself. Okay. Mm-hmm. And people would look at me like, you teach what? And I would say, well, I teach you how your attitudes and your perceptions about your life create your life, and how you can change those problems. There aren't any problems. There are simply perceptions and misperceptions. How can you step back and see things differently in you, not in anyone else?
Yeah. It's almost like people have knee-jerk reactions. It's like we just walk through life with knee-jerk reactions to things. We're reactors. We're not people that actually have like manifestos or standards, or this is who I am and this is how I am in every given situation. Is that something that you find in people that you deal with is hard for them to kind of grasp onto, that it is all about them, not the other person?
Oh, definitely, because that is what we are taught by our societal teachings that I think are totally incorrect. You're taught as you grow up, well, don't worry about it. It's not you. It was his problem. It's just all the societal teachings that we're taught to worry, to be anxious, to be fearful. All of that is just junk.
Yeah.
And we buy into it at every single level. We buy into it on TV. We buy into it on commercials. If you don't buy this product, then you're going to age 20 years faster. You better run and go get that cream.
Yeah.
We are all just sleepwalking through life going, well, and the planet is beginning to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
See it more and more and more. You see it more on movies. You see it more in TV shows. The Matrix was a very spiritual movie. If you look at Groundhog Day, that's one of the most spiritual movies on the planet, because he keeps going through the same thing after the same thing after the same thing until he changes one little thing. And then the next day that's back. And then one other thing. Until he gets into his true unconditional loving awareness of self, and everything outpictures the way it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Mary Ellen, that's so true. I mean, you've gone through different struggles in your life, and people know that you deal with MS now. The spiritual aspect of being a human. It seems like in what you were saying earlier, there's a shift going on in the planet. How are you seeing things around the topic of spirituality, even with religion and the different religions and the philosophies that are out there? Can you give us some insights on things that help you kind of navigate that within your own life?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I was raised in the Catholic Church, and married my husband in the Greek Orthodox Church, and married my first husband in the Methodist Church, so I think I've been to every church on the planet. And I tell people, if you find a church, a group that supports you, then give them your tithes and your money and go to that church. But you need to understand that a church is a business. And they are going to keep you in fear mode, giving them money, because if you don't give them money, they're going to close their doors. Now, if they're helping you raise your awareness level, if they're assisting you to become the good, great person you're supposed to be, then yes, give them your tithes and your money, and go every Sunday and go every Wednesday, or go wherever, however often you want to go. And if it's not, I've been to way too many churches where you go to church and walking out the door, you hear ladies gossip about what one other lady had on.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't think that's what Christ was coming to say.
Yeah.
Christ was truly aware. And I do believe I am Christian, and I do believe he's the Son of God. And if all of us could raise our awareness level to the level that Christ had, we could perform every single miracle he did and more.
That's what the Bible tells us. Everyone, we are with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. She is the author of Truth, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing. She is our guest today on the Earl Hall Show. We're going to take a short break, but we're going to be right back with some really engaging conversation. Stay tuned. Keep it locked. Truth is not just something you read. It's a prompt for us to use in our reflection when examining who we are. True healing begins within yourself when you become aware of your truth. Before you look outside yourself for any kind of healing philosophy, you must filter your thoughts, detoxify your body, and settle your soul. Because when any of these three human aspects are out of balance, a disease will come into your system to wake you up and bring your attention into focus. Get the book, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing by Mary Ellen Ciganovich, available now on Amazon.com or at AskMaryEllen.com. Are you an author or a publisher? Do you have a professional book trailer to promote your books? A professional book trailer video can be just what you need to tell the story of your book in less than 60 seconds, just like a movie trailer. See examples and get yours today at www.probookpromo.com. probookpromo.com. Okay, everyone, thanks so much for staying tuned right here on The Earl Hall Show. Make sure that you do visit the website, www.theearlhallshow.com. You can get all the information about me, my show, and everything else that I do online by simply going to earlhall.co. That's earlhall.co. And I want to definitely encourage you to go over to Amazon and get the book from Mary Ellen Ciganovich, Truth, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing. Mary Ellen, we are talking today about some of the concepts that are in your book and some of your own personal philosophies about life, about spirituality, and things of that nature. And the question that I have for you that right now is kind of burning on me, because we were talking about Christ before we went to break. And I know with like the Apostle Paul, and he was talking about the thorn in his flesh. And I think so many times, I know I have thorns in my flesh. There are things that I struggle with constantly, but as the author of this book, Truth, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing, do you find some things, even with yourself, that you struggle with that you just think they're thorns? They're just going to be there.
Oh, daily, of course. I mean, the writer writes what they need to learn.
Oh, my gosh, that is so true.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even that I even wrote this book. I more or less heard it. And I know that might seem kind of crazy to a lot of people. And, it's just one thing after another. It just kept coming. And I don't know, it's just all of us have thorns, of course. I mean, and daily. And to the extent you stay now, you stay in that present moment. Like, now I'm having this wonderful conversation with my friend, Dr. Earl Hall, and all of his wonderful listeners, and not worry about what's going to go on later or what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen next week.
Yeah.
You've got to stay now every single moment, even to the extent of now I'm walking and now I'm talking. And sometimes for me, I've had to do that because of my MS to control it. I've gone to places where, okay, most people don't have to think about walking when they walk.
Okay.
It depends on how I wake up in the morning. I have to go, okay, walk a straight line, walk. And nobody sees me doing that. I am doing that inside. And it's God's way of forcing me to stay now.
I think that's so important because, I've said, in some of my talk shows I've done before, even in some of the books that I've written, is that we don't experience the present moment the way that we ought to. And what I mean by that is we're either thinking of things that have gone on in the past or we're thinking about things coming in the future. And it seems, and I started really digging into that, and it seemed to me like this is all insanity. We're focusing on the past that is gone and we have no more control over, or we're focusing on the future, which is not promised, it's uncertain, and there's infinite possibilities that the future could bring. But we only have this moment right now to really focus. How is it that you would like to communicate that premise to the people that read your book?
Everyone needs to take just, instead of being so hurried, take a moment to breathe the air, even if it's rainy or sunny or windy or cold or chilly or what, and look at the leaves and just praise everything around you instead of being so rushed in the traffic and being worried about getting this kid to school and that kid to soccer. Of course, you have to do those things. And take a moment to actually be with your children, actually be with yourself, actually be with God in the universe. Yeah.
That's so important. I mean, a few moments ago we were talking about the thorns, right? that are in our flesh, those things that seemingly hold us down and keep us back or cause struggle, in our everyday lives. But I also understand that there's divinity, there's genius, there's excellence in every person that's out here. If there was one thing that you could communicate to people that that you're just a rock star at, right? It's like, what would you want people to get from you if you could give it to them?
Total, no judgment, no motives, no expectations, total, just pure, unconditional, loving goodness.
Yeah.
I really want the best for everyone. That's the purpose of the book. I mean, it'd be nice to make a few dollars off of it, and it's going to be around longer than I will.
Right.
So, maybe this year, next year, or whatever. I want it to wake people up, and I know it is. I mean, I've heard from people, and it's just amazing.
It really is. I'm excited. At the time that we're recording this right now, which is a week before we will actually meet and be with Cyrus Webb. This time next week, we will be with Cyrus Webb at the convention, which is called, oh my God, it just left my mind. How to do all the wrong things in business and still win.
Yep.
What is it that you are hoping to be able to communicate while you're there?
I have totally come to the conclusion that I was invited because I'm the example.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm just kidding. Because there are so many times, like I have a first book that came out called Healing Words, Life Lessons to Inspire, and it's going to be re-released to the first of the year.
Oh, wow.
And with that book, we spent tons of money. Publishers went bankrupt. Right before, the week before it's supposed to, I did everything wrong. Not once. I didn't do it just one time. I didn't even do it just 2 times. I did it like 3 times.
Oh, my gosh.
So I finally, and Cyrus and I connected back in 2011 with my first book when it first came out, and we've been good friends since then. It's been just such a blessing to connect with him and with yourself and with his whole team, and to learn, hey, do it this way, not that way.
It's, how have you found that? I mean, all of us have done all the wrong things, right? But even through doing the wrong things, it's like you can still find your way. You know what I mean? It's like you can still find that path, even though you might run up against a couple of brick walls or obstacles. How is it that you're able to face those challenges that come up with the business that you have, being an author, an inspirational and motivational speaker?
Well, for me, it's a knowing in that I knew what I had in my first book, Healing Words, was good.
Mm-hmm.
And it had to get, it was a knowing inside myself that it had to get out there. And so then my publisher says to go on Facebook. So I go on Facebook and I start posting a truth of the day. Well, then my followers said, well, let's put these into a book. Well, I didn't want to use those, so I wrote 366 new ones to put into a book. And it took me about 7 months. And it's this knowing inside of me that I know this is my purpose on this planet to give to the world while I'm still in it.
Yeah.
And I know, like I said, it's not about the money, and you don't want to spend money chasing things. I had somebody contact me on LinkedIn last week. Well, we can get you on the TV shows and stuff. I said, well, send me a quote. It was thousands of dollars for 1 month, and then I didn't even do anything. I felt like sending their note back. Not that blonde, sorry.
Oh, my gosh. I had to back off the mic to just LOL on that one.
Because there are a lot of people out there that unfortunately will see the new product or the new book and will take advantage of you. Mm-hmm. And you have to have that belief, that not even a belief, a knowing, like I'm saying, knowing in yourself that what you've got, your service that you do for people, Earl, is awesome. It's the best.
Oh, thank you so much.
And you're the best at that. And I know you are, and you know you are. And I know when I speak and when I help clients, I know it is working. And it's that knowingness that's going to connect us all together.
Absolutely. Everyone, I've been speaking and having an awesome conversation with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. She's the author of Truth, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing. It's available on Amazon right now. I want to make sure that you go get it. Mary Ellen, thank you so much for being here with me on today. This has been fun for me. Let the folks know how they can stay in contact with you as well.
Well, thank you, Earl, and it's such like I said, a blessing to be with you, and thank you so much. You can contact me through askmaryellen.com is my website. There are links there to connect with me over Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and even my cell phone if you want to give me a call.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much once again, Mary Ellen. I know the folks have thoroughly enjoyed this, and everyone, make sure that you do connect with Mary Ellen at askmaryellen.com. Go over to Amazon right now. Grab the book, Truth, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing by Mary Ellen Ciganovich. I want to thank everyone for tuning in on today, and make sure you do hop over to the website, earlhall.co. Mary Ellen, once again, thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. I'll see you tomorrow. Stop listening to others and start listening to the best part of you. I know, probably just like me, you have sought answers and guidance from mentors, gurus, and coaches. The problem for you has probably been that you have found some success with that approach, but nothing earth-shattering. Here's the thing. If you want a better business, a better relationship, a better life, then how can anyone else actually give that to you? Why do you think that the answers to what you want are inside of someone else? They aren't. You and only you are the key to living your best life. Get the book, Transcend, How to Truly Connect with God and Create the Life You Want by Dr. Earl B. Hall. Available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle.